Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Edith Chaparro from Exam Prep Bootcamp. Thank you for joining me today. I have an amazing guest speaker, my second guest speaker, Dr. Terry, and she's going to talk to you about her PhD journey and also her professional mental health clinic that has grown tremendously within the last few years. And we would love to hear a little bit about that. So before we get started, hi, Terry, how are you?
I am well. Thank you
It's
for
good to
having
see you.
me.
Oh,
Likewise.
no, anytime. Good to have you. So I wanted to know a little bit about yourself and currently what are you doing? I know you've been up to so much. And also tell us, where your clinic is, what are you doing professionally, and how also people can connect with you.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So yeah, my name is Dr. Terry Audate. I am a spiritual psychotherapist. I own my own private practice / clinic. We do have several clinicians working in the practice. The practice is located in Rosedale. I'm
That's in
also
Queens or Long
yes,
Island? Queens, New York. Okay.
yeah, Queens, New York. I'm also an adjunct lecturer at NYU. And another portion of what I do is actually see clients aside from using insurance, but see clients on a private level, offering different spiritual perspectives to life's most challenging events. So yeah, that's a little bit about what I
That's
do.
great.
Yeah.
And could you tell us a little bit about what is, the spiritual side of counseling, what the differences?
Absolutely. One of the things I've studied in my doctorate program was the spiritual aspect or spiritual aspect of the being, the higher self versus the lower self, and how I incorporate that in the practice based on the client's need is helping them to understand themselves outside of how they view themselves, and really attempt to help them to contact a sense of themselves. We call it the core or your inner spirit, as well as helping them to connect to the higher self above them, or outside of them, not necessarily in this shell that we call the human body, but an extension of themselves, and really help people to glean more meaning out of life as it pertains to who they are and how they want to present themselves in the world.
That sounds great. I have a colleague also that she does this kind of like the same type of specialty. And it's honestly not that I don't want to say well known, but it's a very specific specialty around spiritual counseling, which is and looking not just on the inside of ourselves, but how our insides um reflect our environment,
Yes.
right? And how
Yeah.
we could achieve our goals.
Mhm.
So I know you're in Rosedale, but before we even get started with my other questions, how could people contact you? So I don't want to forget about it. It's the most important part because you have such a great specialty, and I know there's a lot of people that might be interested in connecting with you.
Absolutely. So they can call me at the 888 number, which is 888-293-4325, which is To We Heal. Um,
Cool.
yes. And if they want to email me in terms of for the practice, they can email me at auteshllc@gmail.com. Or if it's for any academic questions, they can actually email me at ta329@nyu.edu.
Great. Nice. I know I always forget those three numbers for my NYU emails. I was like, which one? What is it? 46 this. Right now I can't remember. 240, I think. So yeah, so it's always like, oh, those three numbers is always like I have to remember it.
Yes, I
That's
also have a
funny.
website.
Oh, okay.
They can go to auteshtherapy.com. Again, Autesh is AUTESH, therapy.com. People often ask me, what does Autesh mean? It's just a combination of my first, my middle, and my last initials.
Oh, that's nice. Very nice. All right, Terry. So now that we know about your prior practice, we know how to connect with you. I want to ask you some questions on how you got to where you are. It's a nice journey. It's beautiful journey, and I would like to know a little bit more about where it all started. Well, not really kindergarten, right? Not that far back, but let's start at undergraduate. For undergraduate school, what was your choice, and
Yeah.
um, where did you go to school?
Yeah, so I started out at a Binghamton for my undergrad. Uh,
Mm.
Actually, it was a great experience, maybe, and I had a little bit too much fun. Um,
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I had a little bit too much fun, and then I had to come home. And
Oh, okay. That
finished,
happened to me. Don't worry.
yes, and I finished out at your college with undergraduate degree in psychology, and I majored in women's studies. Um,
Oh,
a couple of years after that, I went and pursued my master's at Hunter College, Silberman. I kind of decided to go the social work route because I just felt like it really addressed the environmental needs of our clients and not so much like with the evaluations and things like that. And I felt like for me, that was the best route. So I got my master's at Hunter. And then recently, in 2018, I decided to pursue the doctorate at NYU. I had a great experience there. It was exciting, and I wanted to really put a stamp on what it is I understand of the psycho-spiritual world. Despite the fact that my practice had begun in 2015, I felt like having and pursuing that terminal degree was important to what it is I'm doing now with my practice and the people that we serve.
nice. Yes. And when you decided to go to your PhD school, you said you finished your master's. Did you end up taking a break, or what were you working on during that time?
Yeah, so after I finished my master's, I actually went back to school to become a massage therapist.
Mm.
I found that as a massage therapist, when I was working with individuals, a lot of their pain and some of the traumas that they experienced was coming out in my session with them as a massage therapist. So at some point, I
Right.
wanted to conjoin the two. It didn't really pan out that way, but I did feel like as I was massaging individuals, they were still talking through a lot of some of the traumas that they'd experienced. And I found that the two really married well in terms of talking to individuals and massaging them. I don't do massage therapy anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because it's just really been very busy for me.
That's
Uh,
great.
I still have, of course, the license, but I don't practice anymore. But
Okay. They're still there. Okay. Yeah, I know. There's definitely, an correlation between our the psychological part and the physical part. They do integrate. So that's really great, especially because you already had that experience, so you know the physical part of the psychosomatic, right? Of how a person might um how their emotions, fears, or past trauma experiences come out physically. So just having that experience is also gonna bring such a wealth of knowledge in your practice. So that's
mhm.
really great. And then when you finish that, I know you started your PhD, because I remember when you were working towards that. What led you to apply? I know you said you wanted to, but is there anything that say, woke up one day like I'm gonna do it, or was there anyone that inspired you to pursue your doctorate?
There wasn't really anyone, but just this feeling that I kept having that things were going to get bigger and more well renowned, if you will.
So
Particularly
things like what kind of things?
That's the thing, it was just this feeling that I was having that I needed to expand my education, and really validate the area in which I was studying, which is the spiritual world. And I felt like people would have valued the information more had it come from someone with a doctorate. And
Okay.
it was just a feeling that I kept having. I really took some time to think about it because I wasn't 100% sure, because my practice had already existed and I was doing well without the doctorate. But it was like this gnawing feeling that I kept getting: get your degree, get your doctorate. And so one day I decided, okay, it's time to
You
apply.
listen to that inner voice, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
and you did it. That's good. I'm proud of you because it's
Thank
not an easy thing.
you.
And when you were applying, tell us a little bit about that experience and just that the journey of applying to PhD school. Because now
Yes.
you made your decision to go in. So was the application any fun or how was that?
Um, I can't say it was fun. It was work that needed to be done, particularly the personal statement.
Mm,
And you can write things for others, but when it comes to writing a personal
right.
statement for
Isn't that
yourself,
amazing?
it's so much different. So really spending some time on that. I think that was for me the thing that I spent the most time on is putting my personal statement together. The school that I actually ended up going to was NYU, and I had to also do an exam. Um,
Oh, really?
yes, they had us
Hmm,
do an exam. I don't remember what the exam was, so forgive me,
that's
but
okay.
an exam, whereas I also applied to Rutgers University, got accepted there, almost went
Hmm.
there, and
Hmm.
but decided not to go to Rutgers because Rutgers had the weekend program,
I see.
whereas NYU had the weekly program. Uh,
Mm,
and I'm in New York, so it was just
right.
easier for me to go to NYU.
Definitely. It's just little, not that far. Well, not
Exactly.
well, you're in, I know where you are in Queens, so but there you had to go how many times during the week?
Just once a week.
Oh, okay. That's not that bad. And
It's,
how large was your cohort or how many were?
we had, I want to say we had, oh wow, 1, 2, 3. I want to say we had 13.
Okay. That's a
Yeah,
nice number.
there was 13 in our cohort. I loved my cohort. Uh,
Do you still connect with them?
we do sometimes on like the group channel, on text. But not as much. Everyone's, going about their lives, but we'll say
No.
holidays, or
That's
some of
good though.
contact each other privately, things like that. But yeah, we
That's
do.
good. And while you were a student and being that you had to go once a week, how did you balance life? What was going on? Anything that any tips or what would you suggest for someone that okay, this is what it's like being a owner of a mental health clinic, having other clinicians under you. Did you have them under you during that time?
Just one at that
Just one
time.
at the time. Okay. And then life itself, how did you manage to balance or what was it like for you?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because not only was my practice full time, I also was
Mm,
working full time as a school social worker. So for the first year and a half of my doctorate program, I was a school social worker. And then having to go to school full time, having to run the practice full time, write my papers, and then family.
mm,
I
mm.
it's
And
very,
then
very,
you.
and me.
That's last, right? Always. It shouldn't be, right? And I know, but it shouldn't be. I do that too. I'm
It
like, oh
was
yeah, let's do something for myself.
it during that time, I don't think I did anything for myself.
Mhm,
It's not easy. I literally was going off of maybe 4 hours of sleep a day,
mhm, mhm. Wow.
really trying to manage all of that. I look back today and I think to myself, how?
That's
um,
how resilient you are, you see?
yes, but it was definitely worth it. Managing, it really was being organized. If you're not
Mm,
organized, then it's going to be nearly impossible.
Wow. An early start during the day?
Early start during the day. No TV. TV did not exist for me.
Mhm,
Little interaction on whatever social media platforms, if any.
mhm,
Really structuring my day in and out, do this, do that.
mhm,
Do not disturb on my phone.
mhm.
People didn't know I existed. Like, it was really intense because of the load that I had to deal with.
It is
Mhm.
intense. It's very intense. And I feel like even though the during the course there's a lot of, reading and researching, but I feel like it towards the end it gets just so intense during the dissertation time. I'm not sure how the program works. Did you have to do all your coursework first, then work on the dissertation, or was it working on the dissertation along with coursework?
It was doing the coursework first, and the last 2 semesters is really compiling our dissertation. It was really a capstone
Oh,
presentation.
okay.
But we could have either chosen what we've worked on prior and expand that, or do something totally new. We also had to present at conferences and write articles.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that was all included as part of the program at
And
NYU.
can you tell us a little bit about what capstone is?
Sure. Capstone is at NYU was a culmination of all the work that you've done, particularly the articles that you've written and the presentations that you presented at and at the professional conferences, as well as your final, paper, if you will. So I'd presented at quite a few conferences. Even after that, I've been still presenting at conferences because the topic of which I'm particularly passionate about, I feel needs to be learned about,
Yes.
heard about. So the capstone project at NYU, the process at NYU was really culminating that and understanding or explaining what was it that that I had that niche in, or what was it that I wanted to present, what was it that was different, and how could that have contributed to the social work field. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. I still present today. I wrote 2 articles. One of them, dare I forget the name,
Of course. It happens.
psychosynthesis, spiritual approach, or a spiritual aspect to social work. And I kind of offered the idea that we can incorporate spirituality in the therapeutic relationship or the therapeutic model with the client, irrespective of one's religious background, and that they didn't have to have a religious background. It could be
Right.
anyone.
A
And
belief, right? A belief.
it doesn't
A
have to be, doesn't have to be under a particular doctrine or anything like
mm,
that. It was just based on the understanding that we are bigger than what we think we are, and
mhm.
how to help people to find that meaning and connection within themselves. Um, so that was what I presented in my capstone, and talk.
In your for your dissertation topic?
Yeah.
What
Mhm.
was your title? Do you remember the title of your dissertation? I know
Um,
it's been a few years. I feel
yeah.
like I'm testing you, right? Like,
um,
oh, she always asks questions.
no, no, no. I think it's psychosynthesis, the spiritual perspective of social work, something like that.
That's great.
It was,
Great.
I thought it was great. I cried.
Oh,
I cried
during at the end.
the end, because my mom had recently, not recently, by then it was over about 7 years. But my godmother was there present, in the audience, and
Oh,
I wanted her there because her and my mom were best friends, and just having her see me accomplish this feat, and going through this process was definitely very emotional
oh
to
yes.
and it was very emotional to me. And then one of the interesting things that I endured in my studies at NYU, there was no one that could have led to be, how would I say, there was no one that understood my topic.
Hmm.
And
That's a good thing.
Yeah, there was no one that understood my topic, and it took me the last semester to actually get a chair
Oh,
to support and validate my work. And then I asked my mentor outside of
mhm.
the school to assist me. And he too was at my capstone delivery, and he presented me my doctorate.
Oh,
And
so awesome.
I didn't, expect that, and it was very emotional, but it was
That's
exciting.
amazing.
It was exciting.
It's just like all that hard work is worth it, like at the end, at that feeling.
Yes, for sure.
So
For sure.
great. That's awesome. And when you completed everything, everything is done. You're a Dr. Audate now. What a wonderful feeling. How do you feel that it has changed you, all just Dr. Audate personally, and how did it change you professionally
Hmm. Um, I don't want to say it changed me personally.
or impacted you?
Yeah, I feel like it was it's a tool that I can use to further do the work that I do.
Mhm,
And professionally, obviously, it really opened doors. When you have a doctorate, the sky is the limit. Uh,
mhm,
go into, if I ever wanted to not do private practice anymore and do, um, be a CEO or executive CEO, what
mhm,
have you, I can. It really, for me, it just lets me know that if I can do anything with it. I can
mhm,
do
mhm,
anything with it. There's no limitations. I'm excited
mhm.
about that. I can get a job anywhere if I wanted to.
Wow. See everyone.
Yeah, I can, it really allowed me to kind of feel like, um, whenever the tides change, I can do something else.
Mhm,
That doctorate allows you to do that. Um, During the program, it has certainly expanded my mind, um,
mhm,
expanded my knowledge, rejuvenated my desire to learn more and
mhm.
expand. And I love it. I love it.
That's amazing. It's great to see how much you've grown um throughout all these years.
Yeah.
And now I know you have your own clinic. You started with, she mentioned at the beginning of her PhD journey, or was it master's? No, PhD journey. You had one. And tell us now what you have.
Yeah, so when I started the program, I had one LMSW working under me who was working towards her hours for an LCSW. And then during and post pandemic, the need has certainly
Right.
and we have now 3 LMSWs working in the practice. We have 2 mental health counselors, we have 2 licensed marriage family therapists, and 3 interns.
That's amazing. Mhm.
Thank you.
That is growth of helping others and helping uh, us, the field, whether it be mental health clinicians. It's just our field is mental health. So you're
Right.
helping them, you're educating them, you're assisting them to move forward in their career as well, because they are moving towards getting credentialed, and that's something that you're doing.
That's right.
It's very difficult to find that, especially culturally. Mental health is not that diverse in terms of professionals, so we need more diversity in our field. And by helping them getting credentialed, you're actually helping the community,
Yes,
right? Because they're going to be serving. You have 7 people under you at least,
at least,
uh,
yeah.
right? And you're those 7 people are helping who knows how many other individuals and the community. So you're just making a larger impact just by one person, right?
Yes,
And before, even though you had your clinic, but just have getting the PhD kind of like empowered you to grow professionally, and also individually, because that gives you such growth, emotional growth, and a lot of I want to say self-esteem also, because you could say, wow, no, I could do this now and I don't have to worry about um maybe I won't be able to move forward in my career, right? Or something's that was holding you back with just the masters. So, and now that you just feel like the sky's the limit. That's we heard it from Dr. Terry. The
Yeah.
sky's the limit for her, and for and I want to see what you do next. This is just not the end. Is there any future goal? Other anything else? What are you doing next?
Um,
Or
I
anything you aspire to?
Yeah, I do want to write another article. I want to kind of find some time to at least put an article out a year. I don't know when I'll start,
Oh wow, okay.
but that's something I've been thinking about. And I've also just ventured out also in other businesses, if you will. Yes, I have the practice, but we're expanding actually to offer behavior therapy for children with autism. So
Oh,
I'm
nice.
promoting or putting together the annex of my practice, and looking to service children who are on the spectrum because there's been an increase and a need in
Mm,
the community. So I would say that's
lovely.
the next step.
That's
Yep.
great. We'll hear about it hopefully in the near future. Well, the expansion because it's in the works, right? I loved your story. It's very inspiring. And I hope it motivates anyone that's listening. And maybe that you have that dream and you're kind of holding back for some reason, but it can be done. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, the research, this, that. Don't let that hold you back because just from my experience, also, there's so much support. I mean, you have to kind of look for the support sometimes and bug people for support, but just because there's research, that doesn't mean that it has to hold you back. I notice a lot. That's a lot about social workers. They're like, no, I don't want to do research, but it's not. There's people that do research that will help you. You don't necessarily have to. I mean, you have to know, you have to understand that and everything, but there's support for people that are experienced and that's their specialty. They do research all day. So just because that's holding you back, that's like one factor I hear a lot from social workers. They're scared of the numbers, but don't be scared. Any tips or advice for our listeners?
Any
Anyone who might be motivated or just like maybe a little intimidated by pursuing a PhD?
um Never give up.
Mm-hmm.
You can do it. You have to have the desire and the will, but never give up.
Right.
Yourself short.
I agree.
Just you can do it. When you have a will and a desire, nothing can stop you.
That's so true. I agree 100%, 110%. That's one of my great words always because there's a lot of different journeys people are taking. And that journey doesn't just because you have a journey, it doesn't mean it's gonna be linear, right? It's not gonna be straightforward. So it might, sorry, I'm throwing some research in there, right? Uh so sometimes there's bumps in the road and things like that. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We need to accept that sometimes that there will
Dude,
be, yeah, there will be bumps.
yeah, we can't have success without the failure.
Right, of
Right.
course. And it's just lessons learned. That's all. I mean, you can't, it's impossible. I mean, some people, okay, there are some people that are like undergraduate, graduate, PhD, and who knows, maybe they're going through things also, but everybody has a different journey.
That's right.
You have to respect your own journey. That's how I see it. Well, doctor, I had a wonderful time speaking with you. You gave us so much knowledge and a learning experience also about something that's really not really tapped into that much in our field. And I hope to expose that also with this video that I'm going to be sharing with my listeners. How can, once again, what can we do to reach you?
Once again, first I want to thank you for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun. If you want to reach out, we can call for, I don't know, if you want therapy, you can call 888-293-4325. If you want to find out what it is we're doing, you can email us or go to autechetherapy.com. If you have any academic questions or concerns or want, to find out more, you can email me at ta329@nyu.edu. And for any other professional things, you can email me at auteshllc@gmail.com.
Thank you, Dr. Audate. Appreciate your time. And thank you everyone for listening. This is me again, Dr. Chaparro from Exam Prep Bootcamp. If you need to contact me, just text me or call me 917-683-8601 for any questions about our licensed exam prep program. Thank you again, everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.